Central 862, respond, Fire Station 7, shots fired, shots fired.
When I first became a police officer, it was basically we had to wait on a large-scale incident. We waited for a SWAT team. It's no longer we're waiting for a SWAT team. The first officers that arrive there on scene have to go preserve life.
In an active shooter incident, there's lives on the line inside. They're bleeding out. So the risk that we were taking was very low. Something needed to change.
The best thing we can do is train our officers like we're doing now. This will happen in Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Several of us had gotten together both on the police side and on the fire department side, realizing that as tactics with both law enforcement and the fire department change, that we had to start doing more joint training together.
Once we started agreeing and we pretty much put a concept together of this is how we think it's going to play out and it's going to work, then the next step was talking to our personnel.
Before, firefighters, because they're not armed, they didn't go into a building like that where there was armed gunmen, nor just like we wouldn't as police officers go into a full burn building.
We had one spectrum, from one end of the spectrum to the other. We had individuals that recognized it and said, you know what, yes, we need to get in there and do something sooner so we can potentially save people's lives. And we had others that said, you know, I signed up to be a firefighter and fight fires, not go into an area where people are potentially being shot or still shooting.
Ready? Let's go.
Today's training was one of the first trainings we've done, actual movements with the fire department, and both fire department and LCPD did very, very well in my opinion. Like I said, what we're doing on having them and us working together going into such a very hot environment, I guess, or a very dangerous environment, and having the firefighters take that step to come with us is leaps and bounds. I mean, this is such a probably small percentage of law enforcement and firefighters are doing this across the nation. You go anywhere else, no one's doing this.
So we purchased the ballistics vest and the ballistic helmets with the intent of this is going to provide a level of protection. It's not going to be a save-all, end-all. There is a potential and a risk that we go into that type of situation with an active shooter and one of our firefighters gets shot and gets injured.
This equipment, I feel, it doesn't hinder anything. It's no different from us being in full bunker gear, if you will, during a structure fire. I think you kind of feel a little bit safer going in having this stuff on, definitely. So, I'm not against wearing this at all going into any kind of situation like that.
We use actual live people portraying as victims. We make it as realistic as we can for Sergeant Story, who is one's in charge of it, who does the moulage, basically, kind of like the fake blood. And we put it to where there are actual wounds on people. So not only do the officers have to see the type of blood that's going to be on victims, but also for the fire department as well. With that, we also incorporated all that noise you guys heard today. That is to add in additional pressure to them. I mean, you think about a school situation, fire alarms are going to be going off. There's going to be such chaos, screaming, yelling. So we have to have them be able to train in that kind of environment. It's how we set up to most realistic situation they can possibly be. Because if they don't see that as realistic as it can, when it does come, they're going to shut down.
You lead him out. His body posture is telling you his intention. You have to lead him out. Bounce up there and wait for him. My body posture is telling them exactly what my intentions are. So when they come up, they're on you. Go. Now you keep an eye on. Right. On what? This right here and this. And what else? This right here. Your head is on a turret. Right.
It's hard to teach officers that you need to bypass civilians that are hurt. That's because human nature, our biggest thing, especially as police officers and firefighters, we want to help people. So it is very hard to sit there and say you need to bypass a 15-year-old boy who's just been shot in the arm right now begging for help. He's still alive, but if you don't bypass him and go eliminate the threat, the seconds it takes for you to stop and help him, think of how many seconds that's taken for that guy to start pulling the trigger and killing more people.